Anyone got questions?
Yeah.
Questions for our Q&A?
Also, I'm going to try and look up where I got this hoodie. I had some questions about that.
Okay. Cannoli asks, how long did the process take in terms of adapting the original Ancient Pai Sho into the current form of Scud Pai Sho?
Okay. About how long did it take?
Turned down.
How long did you make the...
Well, so at first, when I found the old rules, yeah, like I kind of said to you guys when I was talking to you, like, I fell in love with the rules because, like I said, because there's Scud Pai Sho inside of them now.
You doing Q&A right now?
Yeah.
He's answering your question.
And so I ended up getting a set because the rules have been spread around and kind of different versions floating around. Like we've seen, you can check the Game Dev channel. They're pinned there, lots of them. And so there was a couple sets available, like on Etsy and things like that. So I got a set and immediately had to kind of chop some things out and basically simplify things in order to try it. And then, yeah, from then on it was, tweaking and simplifying, like so the idea of the harmony ring was in there, but not like the ultimate goal. And, but so reading through the rules, I was like, well, I have to take out like this keeping score every turn, that was in there, and just make harmony ring, boom, you win. And then, but yeah, it's probably a couple months of just kind of off and on thinking about it, until I came up with how like the harmony bonus works, which is kind of the key to what makes Scud Pai Sho like very set apart, I guess. So the big thing that is not in the Ancient Pai Sho is the harmony bonus. And then after that it was lots of play testing, which was me and Spinks helped out a lot. He joined in early on and we played for a few months at least to before it was probably really all solidified. That's about it. So,
So this was like in less than 6 months you were able to take what you saw and turn it into...
Yeah, it's probably a good way to go, because I would have gotten a set and then a few months of probably thinking about it before I had written down, and like kind of once the harmony bonus was defined, then I basically had the game, and I knew I was still like tweaking the accent tiles.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's probably what playtesting fixed the most, was exactly how the accent tiles work.
Yeah. So the next question is for everyone. How long have y'all been playing Pai Sho?
Ooh, so everyone should just pop in.
Yeah. When did?
Hold on, I always forget. I'm gonna look up my first game.
Yeah, I think I started in the fall. That was just over a year ago. So 15 months ago or so.
Yeah, I did when you started doing it like that.
And I definitely, I feel like I caught it in the middle of a boom. Maybe that's just like my perception. But sometime in the past couple of years, I think
we got we caught on really randomly. Just my brother was like, I'm gonna look up Pai Sho on Google, and there it was. Which is really cool that we've gotten to the point where we can just do that, right? Yeah. Let's see.
And then he kind of fell away.
Your turn, Mason.
Yeah, my brother that introduced me to it doesn't even like play that much anymore. Although I think he's on the stream.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So it was July 7th of 2019 that I played my first game.
With your brothers.
It was probably just like the same thing for me, because when he started doing it, I started doing it, and then we played with each other.
Yeah, 2020.
So. And that's what we mostly did down. Just you playing against me and you just like beating me.
So
I didn't really start playing with you guys a lot until like February, I don't think, of this year.
Okay.
Or, well, 2021.
Yeah, so about a year ago.
About a year. Because we used the site to learn, but we played all local games.
Yeah,
because you got a set.
Yeah, and then we bought a board. So like we started out like playing.
Oh, sure. So you did play on the site to play local games,
but only each other. Yeah.
And, like, it never occurred to me to play randos on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, let alone invite them to your office
yeah.
space here.
Wait.
That was a 1-year rapid descent into madness.
Scud, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color
Very important.
is probably green. Some greens.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I think next is Lexi's up here.
Yeah. From Lexi to Scud, what's it like when you think about what you've created in the community and Pai Sho itself?
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. Like,
Come on, Mason.
yeah, I mean it's just.
Now a bunch of randos are here.
Yeah, I never thought. So I mean, I kind of joke about how I originally started simplifying the game and sort of making it just so that Mrs. Scud would play with me, and then eventually, I had the thought of like, maybe. Well, I mean, I want it to, be a game that's like worth, handing down to my kids or whatever, and like worth, playing for as long as until they grow up. And I mean, I think it worked. I mean, we have a ton of different games, and like yesterday, for like 11 hours, we sat here all day playing like 100 games of Pai Sho.
Yeah.
So, and at like every different Pai Sho game, whether it's on the site and built in, or these different playground games, we played a lot. So, yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty extraordinary.
Must be really cool to like sort of experience the embodied community, right?
Yeah.
How long did it take from the creation of the site to the Discord?
Oh, yeah. I had not really used Discord before. But when the site first launched, it's sort of shown off a little bit in the old 5-minute like how to play Scud Pai Sho video, where it was like games were not saved on the site, but there would just be you would make a move and there'd be a button to like they would just send an email to your opponent. This sort of like a game replay link that could remember what people's emails were, so it could send back and forth. And then, so that was about 2016 sometime, and then about a year later, I got the online play built in, so that the games were saved on the site, and so then a lot more people joined in when that was there, because it was quite a bit easier. And what was the actual question?
The Discord.
Oh yeah, and then to the Discord. So then when people would join in there, I used to just have like there was a global chat tab on there, and so eventually people were like, can we set up a Discord? And then so that I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Did people talk a lot in the global chat then?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, it was basically where there was not as many people on the site, so it was like, hey, anyone want to play? And then the next day someone.
I remember when the global chat was there. It was the same.
there.
It was the same messages every time. Want to play? I'm new here. Anyone want to
Yes,
play?
yeah, and they're like actually like 8 hours apart. And
Yeah.
But sometimes there would be people on at the same time.
I remember scrolling back to the beginning of the Discord server though, and people saying, "Hey, we can talk here now. Hey guys,
Yes,
how's it going?" Like that.
But as far as how long it took, it was probably a few months after like the real time play was added. So sometime early 2018.
How long did it take to develop the site?
Well, I was just up until 2 or 3 a.m. quite a bit. But it was about a year from when I got my set to, so then a few months of like when I had rules sort of in my head, and then actually coded it in. So I wasn't full working on it for a whole year, but it was a year from when I got the set to when like that first version of the site was out. Yeah.
Right. What is your favorite version of Pai Sho?
Oh man. Well, I mean, there's Scud Pai Sho. But let's see. Besides that, like I do love what Adder did to make fire, like out of Scud Pai Sho, and maybe I really do like Vagabond too. It's really interesting. Like I was talking to people yesterday, the Vagabond tournaments always have some good games.
Always gets very fiery.
Yeah, all the those big games.
When did you make your first board?
Oh, okay. I started making, so I have a the laser cutter engraver that I make things for my shop on. I started selling tiles early 2018, and then but I started making tiles first. And we had, and the first tiles I made were the modern tile designs for Scud Pai Sho.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so before that, I was not well versed as like designing things on the computer, so I did not know what to do. So but we had the modern tiles. The artist of those, he was here yesterday, which is pretty awesome. And but yeah, he had designed. He found the site and designed those tiles, and was looking for to get a laser cut set. And so yeah, I worked with him to get the designs going and get him a set, and then agreed to be able to sell them. And then and then I set to work on designing my board for my shop. So that was just a little bit later in 2018.
So your board that you sell for your shop now is the first board that you actually made, or
pretty much. Yeah, you want to grab the board and
it's hard to grab it.
Yeah, we could just grab a couple pieces and show it off. But
It's on the other
or
camera.
look, how about keep it there, Levi?
Oh yeah, and just turn on the.
I can just
And then just like zoom it in.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, and so the interlocking puzzle piece sort of design.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that one has, if you can see, the elemental sort of designs around the borders, which is very cool. Which that was, I guess, probably in 2020 sometime. Yeah, I had someone on the Discord. Well, I wanted to do something like that, and I was talking to someone who had ideas for what it could look like, and he helped design it, and that's awesome. But yeah, that's like the first one I made did not have like the interlocking center and things like that, but that came pretty close after.
Right. Yeah, doesn't look like there's any more questions in the chat. Does anyone here have a question for Scud? No. All right.
Although I guess
I feel like
we'll
people
go
need
back.
to
I
know.
got a good question.
What's your question?
Hopefully it'll be good for everybody on stream too. What's next for ScudPaisho.com?
Ooh, what's
Oh.
next?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess that goes with because going back to what my favorite game would be, there's Trifle.
Oh, okay.
I think Trifle could be really awesome, and like with what's next on the site, I could get back to working on Trifle and building it in.
Who created Trifle?
Abba, and actually one of the other big Vagabond players who was active, before the Netflix boom.
The whole idea of having collectible tiles.
Yeah.
And that can continue too, because like that's something that can
Right.
build
Yeah. So
on.
right now, so they worked on all these different. Basically, it started as what if Vagabond Pai Sho, but if there was like 50 tiles to choose from, and you built your team, almost like a collectible card game style game where you build your deck. Right. But as just an open information game like Vagabond. Yeah, based on the Vagabond mechanics and everything. But yeah, because I don't think there's a game that's actually like that's kind of out there where it's like literally very intense, like Magic the Gathering style, like ability system going on with tiles on the board. So I'm excited for that, and when we built, so now we have Ginseng on the site, and building that in, I did use basically building that in helps Trifle become more and more real. So, but yeah, the first, so there's a first set for Trifle, and I want to get to work on that.
Do you feel like,
but also the Scud Pai Sho rulebook
right,
that I'm working on. So that'll be big. Printed by the Game Crafter, and then I'll order a bunch of them and be able to send them with orders from my shop and things like that.
I've often thought about what the future would be in Pai Sho when it comes to how we can like popularize it more, make it more well known.
Yeah, let me know what you
Like,
think.
I'm wondering if you have any ideas for that. If you think Trifle is a good idea for that, if you think the rule book will be good for that, or
Yeah, having the nice rule book will be good. Yeah, I'm going to be working on some extra sections to the rule book. I do have it like designed through the main rules of the game, but
Right.
yeah, I want other sections to kind of raise it up to the next level, I guess.
all right. How long did it take to turn this into a working business model from Minky?
Oh, okay. So it is just all side project stuff, but like especially with my shop and Patreon, like the website, I can pay for the hosting and things like that for the website through all of that, and then the extra sort of like profit from my shop and stuff. Like it allowed me to do the Game Crafter sets and things like that because you have to buy test copies of everything you do on the Game Crafter and everything like that. So, but that helped a lot. But yeah, once I had my shop up and running, basically it was able to use that to pay for the website to keep it going.
Let's see, anything else?
And give away stuff.
Yeah, and be able to pay for tournament prizes and things like that with Patreon and shop things.
Will your shop be open anytime soon?
I think it's open right now if you go on there. So
It's funny how opening your shop rarely it almost makes it look like you're doing like dropping the sales and see who can get it.
Yeah. Sometimes, because sometimes it's been where I'm just not able to work on very many things. So I'll just plan to open up the shop for a few orders and then close it down, and then within the month I'll work on those. But right now, yeah, it's open for orders and ready to go. But there's I'm glad there's other good sellers out there and things like that too.
From Cannoli, in terms of Pai Sho in general, what do you think is the most difficult barrier to picking up a game?
So like getting into a game like this.
I guess so.
For any Pai Sho, oh man, I don't know. I think we do a good job of when people show up in the Discord, at least being like, hey,
we have people who are willing.
Yeah, people pop in and say, I'll help you learn whichever game you want. Check it out and pick one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we do pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. I think Cannoli has a long question. Okay. He said, even as early as 2017, programming and hosting a site yourself has often proven to be more difficult than just using platforms or template tools to get the job done. While I'm absolutely happy you did it, since it's clearly worth it now, what led to the decision to go all in on that, even when the game was pretty small?
Okay, what is it?
So he's saying basically like
you
he knows that it was difficult to build a site and be hosting it, and obviously now we're glad it's there because we have such a large community around it. But what led you to actually making that big jump into getting it all going?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for one, now that the site is much more used, like we have pretty good hosting for it, and that costs. So it's a little bit like more expensive hosting because we can pay for that and have the site running nicely. But earlier I started with, and it still is hosted on like a friend's a friend who had a website already and had hosting, so we decided we would host it there for starters, and so it still is there, and we just kind of share that. And then we could just upgrade the hosting when we needed to. Yeah, and then but as far as like what there's the like inside the question is like how did I think I could do it? I'm not like the most amazing programmer in the world or anything like that, but a big part of that is like I'll recommend the game TAC. So back then, so I had gotten a Pai Sho set and was writing up rules and to what would become Scud Pai Sho, and like published it on like just a WordPress blog, but then it was like within a year, TAC like was released and came out, and like they had a Kickstarter and everything. But the people in the TAC community like built these a couple online tools, and so I was just kind of inspired by that, and was able to just kind of see what they did, and I just imagined doing that, but for Pai Sho. Was with kind of how their stuff worked, definitely was a big inspiration. And I felt like
from other small.
I saw what they did, and I thought, oh man, and I realized like I could do that. I could build that.
Yeah, for sure.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Did you know about Pai Sho at all when you were trying to streamline Pai Sho?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure when I saw.
Was Pai Sho before?
I think it was, right?
Yeah. Pai Sho was. Could be like 10 years old.
Can you explain to our audience what Pai Sho is?
Yeah, so Pai Sho is it's one of our Pai Sho brothers, I guess. So people inspired by the show and just the idea of Pai Sho, set out to like make it into a real game. So then they I got the box. Yeah. And so now here's the published copy of Pai Sho. Which is actually I'll bust out the board so you can see. But basically, they built the game and then realized that it was kind of turning into its own thing, and so the board for Pai Sho is it will look like the central gardens of a Pai Sho board, sort of thing. So it is an awesome game, and we had this here. I have nice wooden Pai Sho tiles because you can play it on a Pai Sho board if you mark off the outer spaces of it. And there's that.
I think one person asked. Let's see. Minky asked more of a silly question. What type of bender do you associate yourself with?
Today I have to say air.
Yeah, that's true.
So
you are representing
my wingsuit hoodie. Yeah. But it's a toss up between 4 of the choices.
Well, don't forget about the other ones. There's chi bending and everything.
Oh yeah.
And metal bending.
Metal. Well, that's a sub. There's all the different sub things. As well.
Yeah.
Wait, is your answer then you would be the Avatar?
I see myself as savior of the whole world.
Yeah.
That's how I've always seen
no big
myself.
deal. But yeah, I think air stands out as my answer. So.
Why is that?
I don't know. I like the idea of being a nice, calm airbender.
There you go. Yeah. True that.
Yeah. What else you got? Any other?
Oh, nothing here. No one else have a question?
Scud, do you have any questions for the people watching?
Oh man. You guys can put it in the chat when you found the site or how you found the site. Maybe if it wasn't just Googling.
I could always write when you're just slow. I guess you gotta write a big question. Yeah. Some people were saying when they joined. When was your first time watching Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. Get ready to bleep this. I watched the first before I saw the show.
No! That is wild.
What did you say?
So I would have been in high school when the show was on Nickelodeon. So I didn't end up watching it. Okay. And then later in college, Dalen, do you have to explain to somebody what I had a cousin who loved the show, and then when the movie came out, he wanted to go see it. So I went with him to go see it, and I hadn't seen the show. So I had so little
Motivation. To
like knowledge about what it was. So like the movie ended and like I had no idea it was even like not a full story and just like a part one. So we were walking out of the theater and I was like, all right, that was all right. And then but my cousin, he was like, that was the worst thing. So and then so then I had one of my best friends and roommates. Then later in college wanted to watch through the show. So hey, I watched through it then, and yeah, at some point in the show, so okay, so the moment in the show, which is a very Pai Sho episode, the waterbending scroll, the Iroh's line of have you not seen your own ship has set sail, and then later says perhaps it should be a proverb. I just thought to myself, well, I love this show, don't I? Like this is it. I love this forever. So, but yeah, so it was. Yeah, so yeah, you figured I saw it probably the year after the movie came out.
Wow. Okay.
So.
Wait, I have a question. Who is your favorite character from Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Oh man.
Any character.
I think there's only one right answer for this. I guess like.
Yeah. Okay. You mean besides Iroh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, besides Iroh.
Yeah. Usually the question has to come with that
Iroh and
caveat.
Zuko are both kind of basic answers.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh maybe some Sokka. I love some Sokka. Yeah.
I think.
Boomerang
What
guy.
about from Korra?
Besides
Iroh, yeah.
Oh yeah, he shows up.
Those are some of my favorite episodes.
I mean, probably seriously Tenzin, and then unseriously Barrick. But,
Oh, he was
yeah, because
seriously, very
yeah, seriously, the funny stuff is Varric.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, that
Can
was
only
great voice acting.
Yes. Yeah, he was so good.
can only said I know this has been discussed before, but just to kind of get all the info in one spot, what's the whole legal situation with the game being associated with ATLA? Are
Okay.
there any concerns that sometimes in the future we'll just have Scud and Ginseng rather than Scud Pai Sho and Ginseng Pai Sho?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could happen. So, but as far as yeah, there's been Pai Sho stuff like being made on Etsy for probably 10 years and such like that now. And there's they just haven't done anything about it, and I want to be able to get in touch with them like to confirm, but they seem to be encouraging. So we do. I was talking to some people like the podcast is called Braving the Elements. That's going on right now. It's the voice of Korra and voice of Zuko that host it, and they're watching through the show and having on people from the show, and so. But when they get to the waterbending scroll episode and you see Pai Sho, we got a shout out. So
really?
they didn't say the name of the website or anything, but they talk about how fans built ways to play Pai Sho and you can play online and things like that, and I mean they encouraged it.
So they've acknowledged us
Google it.
And that's and that's an official Avatar: The Last Airbender or Nickelodeon podcast. So.
Is that the only time we've been acknowledged?
I don't know. Maybe as far as something that would be
like an official.
This is official.
Yeah.
Wasn't there times before that, but like somebody's Twitter, like an actor's Twitter account or something, you mentioned it, but this was official.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, can't remember.
Was there ever a point where it really felt like the site was starting to actually grow and get bigger and more popular?
Well, the big one was when, within the span of a week, is like, all right, lockdown, March 2020, and also, hey, Avatar's on Netflix, so stay home and watch Avatar.
Right. I remember that.
That was huge.
Yeah, and being added to Netflix.
It was literally the most watched show on Netflix that June.
Yeah.
For weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and that's when it really.
So
really
that's
took
exactly
off.
how I found it. So there you go.
So, but yeah, so as far as legal stuff, I mean, it seems like Nickelodeon could claim if they want, that we stop labeling things Pai Sho at least. So yeah, we'll see.
What do you think about the design of the board itself? Would they would probably be able to keep that?
They might be able to say like you're just copying that from the show and claim it. But I know there's lots of different things with because it's it's a grid.
Just change the color scheme.
Right, like how much would you need to do? I'm not really sure.
Maybe someone posted a screenshot and maybe one of the channels about Pai Sho board. The screenshot for the show. The Spirit World Board. I remember had a Pai Sho board with at least like 20 lines on it or something.
Oh yeah, because I mean I would think that like for how many lines or squares I guess are on the board that we would be the standard board is probably just seen like once in the show. And because it just changes size.
I had a question about that. Like,
do
you know how it got standardized to the like what is 19 by 19 grid?
Yeah, let's. Okay, well, it is. It does make. I mean, it makes sense because it's like if you took a Go board and cut the corners off and turn it into a circle. It's that many lines. And then like with the Pai Sho board, like cutting the corners off cuts like the edges off, and we don't play on the outermost point here where you would on Go. But,
did you make the decision for how exactly the grid is laid out? Because in the show it's all different kinds of sizes.
Right. So no, that was I just went with basically what like the ancient Pai Sho went with.
So somebody in that community.
Yeah, and it's also the most like focused or specific shot of the board, like from the desert scene. Is shown at this size. So.
Right, with the White Lotus Gambit.
Yeah.
Bit. Okay.
Yeah, so that's.
So somewhere there's a graphic designer for the show. That probably made that.
I know. I want to know
to this, right?
Who was the first person to draw it or think of what it is, because it turned into so many games.
Yeah.
And it's not really determined by the script. It was some artist must have made that decision.
Yeah, it's like what was in the animator's notes. Was it just draw a game board or like I had a little sketch? I don't know.
Presumably it was Go.
Maybe they purposely wanted to represent like 4 different nations, so they made 4 different gates coming in, or who knows what their inspiration was behind that. But yeah, we can talk about the whole like where did it come from. Something cool is so there's the scene in Legend of Korra with Bolin and Asami, and they play Pai Sho, and they talk about there's all these different versions and things like that. But at that time, it had been years already since like the ancient Pai Sho stuff was out there. So I mean, it seems like they would have known, because there's also Nick Pai Sho, in which like that scene, the setup of the board is pretty inspired from what's Nick Pai Sho. But they would have probably known that there was the ancient Pai Sho stuff that was already there before Nick Pai Sho. So I mean, it seems to be an encouragement to say, there's lots of games. Yeah. Go
forth and make Pai Sho.
It's so cool that ancient Pai Sho is kind of ancient.
Yeah. I mean, we just call it all ancient Pai Sho and it works.
I have a question. I don't know if you know the story, but thinking about design elements and the artist who just made these designs that influenced us so much years later, right?
Like,
do you know the story behind the White Lotus?
Okay, so the White Lotus that we see in the show, one of the creators of the show, Brian Kinisco, shared, and I might have a link I can look up and share, but it's somewhere on his Tumblr, if anyone has looked there before. But he had this little, maybe a keychain or something that he had gotten on a trip overseas somewhere, and it basically was this this metal White Lotus thing, and it was drawn from just it's that, like you see a picture of it. Yeah, he shared a picture, and it's wow, that's the White Lotus. There's a little bit more detail on some of the petals of the design, but it's exactly just something he happened to have.
So wow.
And one thing I've shared with some people, I've dug through like the history of when like different ideas, like for the Ancient Pai Sho game, were put in place. And basically, there's no like one creator of it all. It seems. I've been able to talk, or I just a couple messages back and forth with one person who was quite involved in that project, and they basically said there's no person who's like responsible for it, like because it was just such a collaboration. Because they're all put together on this wiki, and lots of the contributions are now, I don't know if like their accounts are gone, but it just says anonymous.
Right.
Wow.
And the basic idea for nearly everything was put in place and thought up within one day of the airing of the episode of The Desert.
Wow.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
So someone saw that episode and got to work. They wrote down some ideas.
More than a few someones, I guess.
Well,
Or you
it
saying
started
there
with
was a
one
person
person
out
who
of
started. They started the wiki and wrote down ideas, and then within a year or two, other people had showed up and added other ideas, and just went in and changed stuff.
But that original account is anonymous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
So.
That's cool.
So that's like the real roots of Pai Sho is like that account that we don't know who it is. Then also like the person who created the design for the Pai Sho board in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The artist,
Yeah.
yes, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We just
These
don't
red and white plots that we
Yeah.
still use.
that we obsess over so much.
Yeah, and and there's like the other designs, of like the default tile designs on the website for Scud Pai Sho tiles. There are only 5 tile designs seen in the show, and so there's the other tile designs, and people just drew them, who worked on some of those old ideas. But yeah, it was very soon after that episode aired originally. So in season 2 of Avatar, that all the list of tiles for the game was in place, and there was an idea of what how you score points by getting something called harmonies, which was, and then the system of harmonies was put in place by them.
For the Ancient Pai Sho.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I think makes Pai Sho or Scud, all the Scud family, so unique.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's like capture games and territory games are common in all kinds of forms. But Harmony's a fairly unique game mechanic.
That's why it's often hard to explain the game to people sometimes. And it's like, so there's this thing called harmonies, right?
Yes. Yeah, and so I recommend the game TAC, so the goal of that game is actually a little bit similar to what you're doing in Scud Pai Sho, so in Scud Pai Sho you have to form the certain formation, but it's very loosely defined, right? It's not these specific points on the board. And in TAC, you're playing on a square board, and you try to build a path from one side of the board, just any opposite sides of the board, and it can go however, turning as it goes. So that's, you create this pattern, on the board that's loosely defined. So it's actually similar in that way. That's cool.
I hate to be the guy to say this, but Scud has to go.
Oh, I have to get going.
Yeah.
I do. All right.
Okay.
Awesome.
Guess I should end this recording or something.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for showing up.
Man, yeah. I'm so glad I could come. And thanks
game,
everyone for coming here. And
Oh, Scud, you should do a speech.
I just did.
You just did that. We should say officially though, thank you to Scud for everything that he's done for this community.
Man, yeah, thank you, Dallin. It's awesome.
And for coming so far too.
Yeah, we're here because of you. We're here because of Mark, and
thank you to Mark too for hosting. This is so cool.
And
yeah,
and I mean we're here because everyone else actually wanted to come. So
yeah, we should look around at
the
who all is in
wanted
this
us to
room
come
right now.
too. So it's awesome.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm gonna pack up some of my stuff.
Around.
Get ready to go.
Okay. We've got Mark.
Yeah, show off everyone.
Parker, Eli, Mason over there. Adder right there. Spy right there. I'm Dallin. And this is Pai Sho Con 2022. It's a good time. It's also the only Pai Sho Con, but we label it 2022 because it's the first of many, right? There were more people here yesterday. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There were more people
That's
here
true, it's early
yesterday,
in the
but
year,
this is the
isn't
core
it?
group mainly right here. Ooh. Yeah, okay.
I shall come West Coast.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, everybody who's watching this on YouTube now. Thank you for stopping by.